We just had Larson a few days ago.
Oh, really?
For Metallica for the
nice.
movie.
Oh, cool.
He's very happy.
Yeah.
And he kind of like, it seems to think it's more the Dane DeHaan show than it is the Metallica show.
Yeah, he is kind of under that assumption. But I think he's wrong when you watch the movie. But he is, yeah, he's very enthusiastic.
You've been a Metallica guy from early on?
No, I mean, not really. I wasn't allowed to listen to Metallica when I was a kid.
Huh.
My parents were really weird and protective over the music I listened to. So I would say I wanted a CD, and they would go and buy the CD and then listen to it, and then let me know if I could own it or not. And Metallica didn't make the cut.
So did you have a lot of the I forget what they're called now, but they were doing a lot of CDs where it was like the family version and the explicit version.
Yeah, none of it.
Neither one.
No,
works for you.
No Metallica allowed. No, but then I started listening to them actually while I was making Place Beyond the Pines. I was listening to them a lot, and that's when I got familiar with their music, which was a year before. They called me and asked me to do a movie with them.
And the rest is kismet. So what got you interested in the arts in the first place?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I never had a aha moment. It's just what I've always wanted to do. There was this musical theater camp that was held during the summers at the church that I went to, and I saw a flyer for that when I was 4 years old, and I started going to the camp when I was 4 years old. And even before then, I just always was playing dress up and playing pretend and that kind of thing. So it's just always what I've always wanted to spend all of my time doing.
So was it something your parents encouraged, or was it something they were?
Well, yeah, I mean, they were cool with it. They certainly, they're not artists. My mom is a business person, and my dad is a technology guy. But they could tell I wanted to do it, and they could tell it was all I wanted to do. So I think they kind of nurtured it because they could see that I loved it, and it's all I ever wanted to do.
So did you study acting at UNC, or was it?
Yeah, so I started looking at colleges and stuff when I was a junior in high school in Pennsylvania, and one of the schools I was looking at was the UNC School of the Arts, and I saw that they had a high school program. You can go there depending on what your focus is at different times, but for drama you can go there for just 1 year for your senior year of high school. And so I did that, and then I stayed there for 4 years of college, so I was actually at that school for 5 years.
That's kind of a hip room.
Kind of what?
Kind of a hip room, UNC.
Yeah.
What's going on down there?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the school is really great, and Winston-Salem, I mean, it's in, the school is kind of in its own little bubble, but it's a cool little town, and there's, there's some cool little independent corners of the town that are cool, but the school really exists kind of in its own little, magical bubble.
So David Gordon Green wasn't teaching class there or anything?
No, David Gordon Green was not there. Mary Louise Parker came through. I remember when I was there, it was her 20-year reunion, so that she came and with her class, and I remember that being really cool.
Good moments. So did you think of it as a career at that point, or you just thought it was something you loved doing? Or?
No, yeah. I mean, it's always something I wanted to do professionally, but I just always wanted to learn how to do it first, I guess. And yeah, so I mean, that school, it's a conservatory, and you're going to class from 9 in the morning to 11 at night, and they're all almost entirely acting focused classes. So you kind of, if you go there, you have to know that you plan on pursuing a career afterwards, because it's kind of what you leave knowing how to do,
So did you worry that you wouldn't? I mean, was there any concern about the work as a career? Or?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you never know, and but but I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else, so I had to at least give it a shot, you know. But yeah, there's always that fear, you know, just like when you leave school and not knowing what's going to happen, and just hoping you get like anything, you know, like any job is like the biggest, most amazing deal in the world, you know. I think the most excited I've ever been to get a job was I was like 2 weeks out of school, and I got cast on Law and Order SVU, and it was just like I never imagined like I would ever like be on TV or anything, and it was like this mind-blowing experience, and I was so excited and happy, and I still think that's like the most joyful and like celebratory I've ever been to get a job.
So how did that happen? Had you moved up to New York, or
yeah, so like the school does a showcase in New York and in LA for like agents and casting directors. So I got an agent through that showcase, and I moved to New York, and yeah, and then he set me up with the audition.
So was the experience actually doing SVU what you expected being an actor to be?
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, like I was just so excited and so happy to be there. I think it wasn't like I didn't know what to expect, you know, because I never imagined that I would be in that scenario. So it was all brand new to me, and I didn't really go in with any expectations, but it was really fun. It's really interesting. Like I remember when I did that on the last day of shooting, the director of the episode found out that it was my first like job. Like I'd never had a job, and he didn't know that because I guess he didn't look at my resume like when I auditioned, and he turned to me and he said, "Wow, like if I knew that, I would have never given you this job." So I got like that's how I got my first job, is by no one knowing it was my first job. You know, because everyone always says like it can be so hard to get like that first one and like break in, but he just didn't. He just didn't know.
He was too busy to pay any attention. And now you get to be a star. So was In Treatment really the breakout? Was that kind of the place where?
I think so. I mean, that's really like where the film world started to take notice. You know, I had like a certain amount of success in like the downtown theater scene in New York, but In Treatment was definitely like my launch pad into the film world, and it's really from In Treatment that I made, once I moved to LA, solely In Treatment was the only thing that had come out, and that's when like I got Lawless and Chronicle and Place Beyond the Pines and this film Kill Your Darling. So it was kind of all off of In Treatment, I would say. And
all kind of directors who are like really interested in actors.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely like actors, directors, or people that, you know, and like great material for an actor too, for sure. So do you miss I mean, when you got into the theater scene, did you think, okay, this is going to be my thing? Or yeah, yeah. I mean, I love theater. Like theater's what I've always done, and I really miss it. Like some of my best experiences to this day are still doing theater downtown. In all these years. In all my many years. No, but above all my many experiences, like it's still some of my favorite stuff and my best experiences. Yeah, and I'd love to go back and do something. I'm just, you do have kind of a stunningly dense resume for a guy who's your age. I mean, it's the amount of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff in like 5 years, I guess. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So, has it all kind of come to you and you just kind of going for the ride, or are you very selective about scripts, or you? Well, like now I am, you know. Like I said, at first, like I just didn't think I was ever going to work as an actor at all. So anything that came my way, like I just ate up, and I was so excited. Yeah, and then, but now I'm to the point where, you know, there's like so many great opportunities coming my way that I can kind of sift through and see the ones that really appeal to me. But yeah, it's been like a gradual progression getting to that point. Well, somebody like Hill Code comes to you, and there are a lot of people, a lot of name actors in that movie, and a lot of big talents. Yeah. I mean, is that like
wow, it's an opportunity to work with these actors, it's an opportunity to work with this director, is it the script, the character?
Yeah, I mean, everything, you know. I mean, I feel like that film and a lot of the films I did really had a lot of those elements. You know, that was a great script. It was a really interesting part, a really challenging part, and then there were great actors in it, and then there was a great filmmaker behind it. So it just kind of had all of those elements, which, you know, so a lot of the stuff that I've been lucky enough to do kind of have those elements to it.
Is there one area where you go, okay, this is the ticket, this is kind of the thing that excites me the most about getting involved with this?
Well, for me, it's about, like, what I love to do is act, and so it's really about the acting, and it's about, I guess, mostly about the role and the challenge the role would present, yeah, just kind of on this, you know, never-ending journey to get better and better at acting. Like, that's what I love to do. And then if other stuff comes along with that, that's just added bonus, you know. But if the script is great and the part seems like really kind of complicated and terrifying, then that's kind of what I want to do, you know. Like, if I read something and I say, like, I'm not sure I could do this, or I don't think, you know, I doubt my ability to do this, like, that's probably what I want to do.
Well, even like the Metallica thing, I mean, it's basically a silent performance by you.
Yeah.
Which had to be a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah, totally. That was definitely one of the things that attracted me to that project. And it was also just like an undeniably cool experience, you know. To make a movie with Metallica, like, that's just, it's really a crazy thing. But yeah, like, I don't say anything. I say 2 words in the whole movie. So that was one thing that, you know, really appealed to me about it, and I thought would be a good challenge.
So what was it about Lucien that dragged you in?
Well, I mean, Lucien's a really complicated guy. He, you know, first of all, I'd never heard of him before this, and I'd never even heard of the story. But also, like, he has a lot of, like, I think, extroverted, charismatic elements that I feel like weren't really in the stuff I had done before. And but he's still like a really complex, complicated person with a lot going on inside of him. I mean, you know, he knows how to charm people and how to make people fall under his spell, but he kind of uses that and puts attention on other people and acts out in order to hide, like, kind of these demons that are obviously inside of him. And it was just like, really, I felt different from stuff I had done before and presented a new challenge, but also still like someone that would be hard to wrap my mind around and a very complicated individual.
So do you do a lot of research, or is that not really your thing? Or?
Yeah, sure. Like, I'll do, you know, as much research as I have time to do. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, like, that's what I love about it. Like, what I love about it is the work and the research and, you know, creating the character, and, like, everything that goes behind it is just as much fun to me as the day we get to shoot it. Just like the process as a whole, like, I'm just a big acting nerd in that way. Like, I just love doing it, you know.
So when you found Lucien, could people tell? Would you do him for people and kind of get a feel whether you were seducing them?
No, I mean, not really. Like, I wouldn't, like, put it on, like, off camera so much, but it does start to have, like, an effect. I don't know, it has, like, a subconscious, like, effect on my life. Like, anytime I'm playing a part, there are elements of the character that kind of creep into my life, like, whether I want it to or not. So, you know, it was a very dramatic 5 weeks, that's for sure.
Does it take a while for it to creep back out, or is it?
Yeah, it can and it can't. But ultimately, it's like, I mean, mostly I think it's because, well, at least when we start shooting, like, it's 14, 16 hours a day you're pretending you're somebody else, and then you go to sleep. So you're really, like, spending more time more hours out of a day, like, being a different person than you are, like, being yourself. So like, inevitably it starts to affect you as me as an individual.
So did they use a rehearsal on a picture like this? Was there time for any kind of rehearsal?
We did. We had a week of rehearsal, which was a really great thing, you know, because we made the movie in 24 days. So it was really great to kind of all get on the same page and have a bit of a game plan, like, going into it.
Well, the relationship with Michael's character is challenging already, but it's like it's all subtext in the movie, even though it's, for him it's overt, and for your character, for Lucian, it's kind of all underneath.
Right. Yeah. It is a complicated relationship. Yeah, and something that we worked on a little bit in rehearsals, and, you know, that relationship I think was something I really wanted to wrap my mind around, and it's so ambiguous, like, in terms of what it actually was historically, but I felt like it was important for me to, you know, figure out, at least do my best to decipher, like, the actual specifics of that situation and, like, how we felt about each other and, like, that kind of thing, because it's obviously such a key element to the story.
So are you comfortable with how the film suggests that you guys felt about each other, or is that match?
Yeah, I think so. I think at this point in the story, like, this, it's fairly accurate to as it was, you know, like, I think it was at a point where Lucian, I mean, at this point they had been together for 7 years, since Lucian was 14 years old, and now Lucian's in college, and he's kind of ready to be his own man in a way, and finally branch off, and in many ways be the David Cameron figure for Alan. You know, he's like assuming that role that someone had in his life, that I think was really important to him and he really cherished for a lot of years. But now it's becoming too overbearing and he wants to let it go, and David just keeps, you know, grasping on it and trying to hold on to it. And it obviously kind of all explodes at the end. So
the need to move on a higher issue in this case than really the gay issue, in some ways?
Yeah, I think so, because I think, yeah, I don't think it's, for Lucian, it was so much about, like, I don't think it was a gay issue. His relationship with David, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think, like, I think he was still, like, interested in Alan at the time. I mean, obviously he was, at least in the film, he's scared to confront these demons of how he, like, feels about people and the fact that he's gay. But I think with David, it was the long history of the relationship. Like, it wasn't about, like, that I'm gay. It was, you know, they had been at least somehow involved with each other for 7 years. So if it was just a, like, gay thing, I think it would have been over a long time ago. Like, I think it was a relationship he really cherished, but it was just becoming so much in his life that he couldn't take it anymore.
Well, I guess the idea, the panic of it being public, I guess, or publicly acknowledging being gay seemed to be part of the equation, but it's fascinating.
Yeah, but, like, for Alan and stuff, for sure. And I mean, obviously, like, obviously being gay back then was a crime, so you never wanted to, like, be caught being gay or you'd be criminalized. But I don't think that's what it was with David. I think I don't think he killed David because he might be gay. Like, I think he killed David because it was this relationship that was just becoming overbearing in his life, and he wanted to move on and David didn't, and it just got way out of control. And, you know, he was very easily was an out of control person, and he got caught up in the moment, and it ended like it ended, you know. But I don't think it was, I don't think he killed David because he was gay.
Well, I didn't think he killed David because he was gay either. I just thought my feeling was that there was an element where the idea of acknowledging was, and his mother's, you know, remarkable hero-centric performance of being such an ice queen and so dismissive of what her son might actually feel, created a panic in him that seemed to be part of the story.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think, like I said, I think that's kind of what it was with Alan, but I don't know. I never really looked at that factoring into the relationship with David. Honestly, I don't know. Like, honestly, like I don't think that historically, like, his relationship with David was even that sexual in nature. You know, which is not to say they definitely weren't ever like sexually involved, but it wasn't like a terribly sexual relationship.
So do you have long conversations with the director about this with the director, or does it end up being subtext that he's not worrying about so much, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had conversations about it for sure. But yeah, we talked about it like before we shot.
Is that your preferred way of being directed, is to work it all out ahead of time and then let it fly in the set, or do you like kind of being moved in a direction as you're working?
Well, a little bit of both, you know. I'd love to do work before and I'd love to do work during. Just constantly trying to make it better and better. Like, and if we have time to talk about it before, that's great. And then if we get to set and realize what we talked about was completely wrong, like, that's great too. Yeah, I like any time that I have to kind of work with the director and make it better, like, I'll take that time.
So did you like being a swaggering blonde?
I liked being blonde. It was fun. It was like a fun. It was definitely like a fun role to play, and to not have to be so serious all the time, and to have, you know, that kind of charisma and stuff. Like, it was fun to kind of have permission to do those things.
It is interesting how much you end up rooting in so many of your roles. It's kind of
yeah.
It's got to be a bit of a weight on you at times.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it can be tough, but
you don't seem broody.
No, I'm not really broody as a person. But, you know, but also I just feel like these are the most interesting, complicated. Like, it's the most interesting, complicated stuff that has kind of come my way. So. I mean, that's what I love to do. Like, those are to me, the most challenging roles. And I feel like it's been a wide range of people, but they have gone through very extreme, serious, problematic circumstances.
Well, you've really, I mean, the pictures you've picked are all complicated, as you're saying. They're not generally, I mean, Chronicle, ironically, got more complicated as it went along.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was going to be one thing and kind of turned into something more interesting.
Yeah.
But a lot of these pictures are really tough going.
Yeah, they're complicated people. But again, like, different people, and, you know, like, Andrew Detmer is certainly, like, worlds apart from Lucian Carr. You know, like, you have a person that's an extreme introvert and can't make any friends, to a person that, like, the one thing they're good at is making people fall in love with them, you know. They just both go through kind of extraordinary, tough circumstances, you know. And like Cricket in Lawless, like, he couldn't hurt a fly. He was really happy. You know, a crazy mind, and a really interesting character, but a really lighthearted, peaceful person.
So where do you put that after you've gone? Do you carry concerns about a film after you're done shooting, or have you pretty much done your work and you're moved on?
I kind of move on. Yeah. I mean, I always, like, can't wait to see them. I'm always, like, really, you know, I ask the director, like, how's it going? But personally, I move on. Yeah.
So you have no problem watching yourself work?
No, I mean, I don't, like, love it. But
you have a shrine with television throwing your movies.
You know, but I always enjoy. I always enjoy watching the movies that we make. Like, I go, like, just, it's like, it can be a really reminiscent thing to me. Like, oh yeah, that day when we were filming that scene, or, you know, and I think it's important for me to watch my work and, you know, kind of be critical of it. I think that's like an important element of doing it and getting better.
Do you see the entire movie in terms of, I mean, do you get perspective on the movie if you're watching a movie with a lot of your performance in it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I tend to, yeah, I think I can totally like watch the movie as a whole.
So what's it like to have so many movies? You've had a couple years in a row now with like 3 movies each year, or I guess 4 this year.
Yeah.
Is that fun? Is that...
Yeah, totally. It's fun and it's crazy and exciting, and you know, ultimately, like what I love to do is make the movies, and I've, you know, been really lucky to be able to make a lot of movies, and then when they come out, I mean, you know, like it's important to let people know about them and to get behind them. I mean, to like make a movie and then not like promote it wouldn't make much sense, you know.
So doing press is not your favorite part?
Not like why I got involved with it, you know. I didn't say like I want to be an actor so that I can do press for movies. But I'm like, I do things that I'm really proud of, and I think that they're important movies for people to see. So I'm always happy to, you know, let people know that I think it's an important film and they should see it.
So when's the first time you saw Kill Your Darlings?
I saw a version of it before the sound had been mixed, about a month and a half before Sundance. And then at Sundance was the first time I actually saw the film.
So was that a great experience sitting there watching in that big room with all those people?
It was really crazy. Yeah, it was a great experience. Really big theater, a lot of people, but they were all really supportive, and you know, it was a big celebration, and that was like kind of a long time ago, and now we've had like 5 premieres since then. But yeah, it's been really exciting. You know, when you make a movie like that's this small, and it gets the recognition that this film is getting, like that's a really incredible feeling. Do you have avenues in which you can feel the response? Do you, I mean, just trust your friends to tell you whether they liked it or not? Or? Well, I mean, just the fact that it keeps going and going and going, and we have all of these premieres, and you know, the like press for this movie is the most press I think I've ever done for a film, and you know. Welcome to Sunday Classics. Thank you. Yeah, so it's just like all the Q&As and all this stuff. Like it's you can just tell that people are genuinely responding to it. And that gives you pleasure, but also not why you got into this in the first place? Yeah, I mean, I do it because I love acting, and the craft of acting, and that's what I've always loved. And luckily, I'm in a business that a lot of people like to watch, and me do what I do, and a lot of people get to go and see it, and that's what fuels me having the opportunities that I have, are people going to see it. So it's like this cycle, you know. It's like what I love to do is the work, but when the movie comes out, like I'm totally happy to, you know, show people the thing that I did that I'm proud of, and hopefully they'll want to go see it. So have you thought about where you'll be in 5 years, or is that do you think that far ahead, or are you just kind of? I do not think that far ahead. If someone asked me 5 years ago, where will you be 5 years from now, I would have sold myself way short. So, yeah, that's not. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. Do you have things that you want to do that you think, you know, this is on my list of things I need to knock off? Not really. I mean, like I said, like it's just a never-ending quest to get better at acting and to be a better actor. And you know, I think like acting is the kind of thing that, for me, like it's a never-ending journey of wanting, of like you can always continue to get better and better and better and better. And it's what I've always loved to do, and I've been given great opportunities to do it and to try to get better, and that's it. Like that, I want to keep challenging myself, and I want to keep putting myself in frightening situations that I think will help me grow as an actor and as an artist. And like whatever those opportunities are, like I don't know what they will be, but like I'll cross that bridge when I have to, you know. But it's easier sometimes to just go take the opportunities as they come, and you know, I think if I've realized one thing in the success I've had, it's that the only thing I can really trust is the work and my passion for the work, because that's the one thing that's solely my own. So that's what I worry about, and it's not a 5-year plan, it's a very day-to-day kind of thing, and so that's, you know, that's my job, is to focus on that part of it.